Welcome at MX-5 Info. This video is mainly about how to modify Alfa Romeo vents to replace the original Mazda Miata air vents. This is not the easiest solution. It requires some do-it-yourself activity, but it's certainly the most beautiful option out there. There are alternatives in the North American market, and I will show those later on in the video as well. The reason for replacing the original vents is simple. They cannot be completely closed and are hard to keep pointed in the right direction, as they tend to face downward when the pieces of felt start to wear out. I'm fortunate to have air conditioning in my car, and on a hot day when I'm driving alone, I would like all the cold air that is available to cool me instead of the passenger seat that is empty. So the requirement to close the vent is important to me, because then I can shut the vents on the passenger side. What is also important is that when I point the vents in a specific direction, I want them to stay in that direction. And besides that, the solution should also look good. During my search for suitable vents at the junkyard, I came across the Alfa 166. It has 5 vents in the dashboard, 1 on either side and 3 in the center. Later on, I discovered that these vents were also used in the Alfa 156. In that case, it has 1 vent on each side of the dashboard and 2 in the back between the seats. So 4 in total. Therefore, each of these cars has enough vents for a complete set. The diameter of these Alfa vents is 74 millimeters. This is slightly too big because the original vents have a diameter of 71 millimeters. When we look at the depth of the housing, we see a big difference. The Alfa vents have a housing of 70 millimeters depth. This is mainly caused by the fact that there is also a valve in there, whereas the original Mazda vents are only 46 millimeters in depth. So we need to shorten the housing to make it fit and get rid of the valve. At some point we will have to disassemble these vents, but not right now. In the next part I will show you how to modify the vents. Here we have a number of air vents on the table. This is the original one that we all know from our own Miata or MX-5. And these are the ones from the Alfa Romeo, the Alfa 166 or 156. They are quite tall, as you can see, and this is one that I've already done, modified to fit in the car, which means it's now about the same depth as the other vent is. So for starters, we will have to modify the vent. What I recommend to do is that you keep it intact. As you can see, I have 2 different versions. One has a chrome ring, the other one doesn't. It means this one is less work, because the chrome ring, the diameter, it's too big, it has to go. What I usually use is this, a tile file. So you can use this for bathroom tiles or floor tiles. It's very coarse because this is quite hard material. And what I do is that I use the file basically to trim the edge like that, to remove the chrome ring, etc. Everything up to the point where I get the right diameter. Yeah? I need to do the same thing later also for the housing. This part is okay, but this part needs to come down in size all around, and I will use the file for that as well. It will take you 20 to 30 minutes maybe before you get everything to the right size. This we can shorten. You can use a saw or Dremel, whatever you prefer. But up to this point I will leave the housing and the front of the vent together. Then after that, once that has happened, you need to disassemble the vent, and I will show you how you can do that. So this vent has still a valve in it. As you can see, we can open and close the valve, but since the valve is in this last part of the housing, we cannot use it, and therefore it has to be removed. You can see here a small hole in which it is mounted, and over here as well. And if I open the valve, so I can grab it here, I can press the housing in a bit, and then I can remove it from the hole, as you can see hopefully. And I can do the same on the other side. So press it in, and then, so it still doesn't come out because it's fixed to a rod, but we can see that in a moment when we've also taken off the front out of the housing. What I use for that is a small screwdriver, yeah? And you see here a ragged edge. And this is the ragged edge that makes sure that you can, as you can hear maybe, yeah, you can rotate this front within the housing, and so it is spring-loaded, and it will make sure that the direction in which you point the vent is stable. Yeah? I will now use that ragged edge to push out the front out of the housing. So I can move it in between and move it forward, maybe repeat the same here and here, and then we can take it out. So the valve is still in there, it will come out. So the housing, basically we're done with that. In the housing, and it just fell out, but it also allows me to show you, there's this small spring element. Usually it's kept in place by a bit of grease, so it sits on a flat edge inside this housing, and it presses against that ragged edge here normally. That's the sound that you heard earlier. So this one basically has to be trimmed, like I said. It needs to be reduced in diameter, and the same goes for the front. So this goes from 74 to 71 millimeters, so it will be slightly smaller. Then when we look at the front and the valve is mounted on a rod, but if we push it to one side, then it will snap out of its place, and we can basically throw it away. We will not be using it again. Then we have the front in itself with these parts that can swivel, but there's also this ragged edge. It's a separate piece of plastic that has to come out. So I will now try to remove that piece. What I usually do is start here at this point where there's a swivel point for these parts. I can push in the screwdriver here and then try to remove this part of the housing. Yeah, maybe we should try it here. Have to push it up a bit, and then it will come loose. So we can put this part away, so this ring. Then we can open these parts a bit and take everything out to just have the pure front remaining. So this does not need to be disassembled any further. You can recognize it like so. But this part, this is what you may want to paint. So if you want to stick with black, that's fine. But probably after filing down, yeah, the diameter, it's still a bit rough. So you need to sand this. And then afterwards, probably you will want to paint it. So what I have done is I've gone for the silver paint, because I have some other silver trim pieces still in my dashboard. So in the instrument cluster there are silver rings around the gauges, so that's why I stuck with silver. Originally I also had the silver radio trim, etc., but that's no longer the case, but still I prefer the silver rings to come back, because this was the original. Yeah? So it looks more OEM. If you want to spray paint these, then what I recommend is to cover these small, you could say half moon sized pieces inside the ring, because it will give you a better result. Because then, as you can see in this example, you will still maintain that full circle. Otherwise, if you open these, then you would have silver pieces here at the edges, which when it closes doesn't look so good. So I will have a picture of when I did it initially. I painted those parts as well, then later on I removed the paint. Once you are done painting the front of the vent, you can start to reassemble everything. So we need to put these pieces back in. This bigger part will go into this big opening, and the other side, it will have to slide in some slits you can see here. It's always a bit of a puzzle, but in the end you will get it. Like so. So now the front is complete again. We have to put on the ring with the ragged edge. And inside there you see two longer pieces that will go into these two slits. And then you can just press it down until it snaps. Then we need to put in this small spring back into the housing. If you look at the housing, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's an opening for this spring. Yep, see, it appears to be in place. And then I can simply push in the front and check. Yep, as you can hear, that's fine. And by that time you can cut off the piece of the housing that we no longer need. And that should be it. So once it's painted and at the right size, you will have this very comparable with the original, and you can just push it in. It doesn't snap into place, but it's held by friction, and you will be able to just open, close, swivel, etc. That's it. That's your result. In North America, you have two alternative solutions. You could use the Jeep Commander vents or those from the Mitsubishi Eclipse. They require less work or none at all, but they are not available in Europe, or maybe only for ridiculous prices. I have been looking at another alternative, and those are the door vents from the Nissan 350Z. But in order for that to work, I would probably need to design a new housing and then have that 3D printed. If and when I manage to use the Nissan 350Z door vents, I will cover that in a future video. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That means a lot. For now, I would like to thank you for watching MX-5 Info, and I hope you will visit the channel again in the near future.